little recap then on the zones here then, Nige. We've got black where you're late, green you're looking good, red you're in diabolical trouble.
Yeah, right. So if your boats in front of you all look happy, move forward. So that's this boat here. Get my laser pointer out. Yeah, this boat here should be looking to advance. You've got this boat here that maybe has a land transit, maybe can see far too much of the helm and the crew, realizes they're on their own, they need to do something. They can bear away. Would you bear away in this situation, Jason?
Oh, that's where the PTSD starts. No, surely not.
Yeah.
But where do you go? Where do you go?
Surely not. And that's the one bit of advice, is never bear away in this situation. So if you bear away, all of a sudden you've got big problems. You're on a broad reach. You've got absolutely no right of way over any of these boats. If you obstruct the pathfinder or the gate boat, you get disqualified. If you call for water, you get disqualified. If you hit anything, you get disqualified. And fireflies have quite long booms, maybe not shown here, but they can be quite close. And there's not a lot of space for you with your boom out to get through these gaps. You're very lucky to find one. So 99.9% of the time, you tack. If you tack, you're then going broadly the same speed as the pathfinder. So your closing speed is gone down to 0, and you can sail along the line and look for a gap. So for example, this gap here is actually easier to get through on port than it would be on a run on starboard. And maybe you just go up here and find the gap and bear away. So if you tack onto port, you live for another day, and you don't end up paying out money on the insurance, and you don't end up buying everyone a drink in the bar. If you bear away and go this way, you're possibly going to get some sort of beer-related forfeit in the evening. So
it's just not going to end well, is it?
It's not going to end well. Is that clear? Do you see that? Have I missed anything?
No, that makes clear sense. And having that nice big red triangle there to really stick in your mind, it's just dangerous. Don't be there.
It's dangerous. Just don't do it, mate. Don't do it. The other thing I haven't mentioned is that my position when I'm in this zone is actually sitting on the floor of the boat with my crew Emily balancing the boat. So you want the biggest panoramic view of what's going on. So if you're sitting up, you might have a bit of vision loss from the boom, from the mainsail, from the jib. So actually sit on the floor, so you're nice and low and you can see everything over the top of the thwart. That's what I do. And then you can work out what you're going to do. Okay.
Wow. That's a good tip.
A good tip. Good tip.
And at what sort of times and distances do you think you're talking about here? So where your laser line is, what sort of time are you thinking that is in relation to the Pathfinder, to the start?
Well, sort of Pathfinder goes at say 3 knots, 1.5 meters per second. So that's you put me on the spot to my maths now, haven't you? So I mean that's only like 20 seconds away, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
You're doing a boat length every two seconds. So yeah, maybe even less than that. It's all squished up a bit. So I'd say that this boat up here, you should say 10 boat lengths away, you've got 20 seconds. This boat here, you know, if you start doing 4 knots, 2 meters per second, you're going to close up, you know, those 10 boat lengths in very, very quick time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. Is there so on the, I mean, gate starts seem to be the fairest way of, I mean, and arguably it's the easiest start you're ever going to get because you've got clear wind straight off the line. But what's the pitfalls? What's the dangers like?
The dangers are again disqualified. So just to reiterate, whilst I think they are fairly easy, there are lots of ways to get disqualified. You can start too early, so hands up if you've ever done that. You can start too late, so we've run through the whole, you've got 1 minute after the gate time to get across that line. There are other ways of disqualifying yourself. If you capsize or for any reason you're over here, you can't recross the line from the windward side and start you can't sort of do a dip line, start, tack, and start that way. You have to get around the end. So don't find yourself up here, and don't capsize up here. Always try and stay in the green zone. The way that you've also been disqualified is interfering with the pathfinder. So say this boat doesn't tack and he's actually just drifted in front of the pathfinder. If the pathfinder's forced to tack, that's you disqualified. And you're not disqualified from that start, which will have to be abandoned because the pathfinder's had to tack. You'll be disqualified from that race. So don't interfere with the pathfinder or the gate boat. Don't try and sail between them. And if there's a guard boat, which would be sort of where my laser pointer is, don't go between that or interfere with that. The other way to get disqualified, as we mentioned, was calling water on the gate boat. You can call water, but the boat will give you water, but it's a disqualifiable offence. So only call water just to prevent damage. And if you're on your own, like this boat here, say, and you just click the gate boat, that's a disqualification as well. So lots of ways to disqualify yourself.
So it's really, it's keeping your wits about you and not getting overly psyched by the whole situation. Just try and keep it sensible, try and keep it clean, and you should at least get a first lane clear start rather than the line start. I mean, why do we do gates rather than line starts?
Because if you've got over 100 boats on a line start, inevitably you end up with lots of black flags and disqualification. So you can have a situation where it takes 4 attempts to get this race going. 4 times 10 minutes, it's taken 40 minutes. And if you've had a few black flags, you could end up with, say, 20 boats disqualified. And the Firefly class being a sort of inclusive, friendly class, we try not to disqualify people. We try to let everyone have a race if they possibly can. So, which comes back to the point, if you are having problems, just tack, bear away, find a gap. You'll get a bad start, but at least you'll get a race in. If you just bear away whilst on starboard, you'll probably end up disqualified.
So that's the danger, isn't it?
Yeah, gate starts 9 times out of 10, I'd say, they go off first time. You have a sequence, off goes the pathfinder, off goes the gate boat, and it all happens nicely. Occasionally they do get abandoned, and that's usually when there's a big wind shift comes in, and the pathfinder sets off, and we find he's actually either pointing at the windward mark or he's sort of sailing away from it. But usually the breeze is nice and steady, and when the breeze is steady, it goes off first time. It's rare for it to be canned.
Is there any benefit to being the pathfinder? I understand it's always the 10th boat in the fleet that's picked. Is it the 10th boat regardless, or is it does that move around?
It's usually the 10th boat, but you don't normally do it more than once. So if you come 10th twice, they'll pick the boat that came 11th in the race. So the great thing about being pathfinder is you've sailed for 4 minutes or 3 minutes in absolutely clear wind, and it's nigh on impossible for anyone to overtake you. The disadvantage is that you're going right, whether you like it or not. But a beat normally takes sort of 15 minutes, maybe. So you've only done 3 minutes on port, so you haven't banged a corner. You're still only 3 minutes away from the boats that have started first out the gate. So
is that why being allowed to release the pathfinder early is preferred in some classes, so that the pathfinder isn't
it's
banged
not
to one side?
Yeah, I think so. Although I haven't found a class that does that. To be honest, we seem to have some sort of legacy in the rule, but there's no other classes that do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we should have that pathfinder do the full stint then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think statistically the pathfinder usually leads at the top mark, and quite often the pathfinders had a good race, come 10th in the previous race, and they're pathfinder, and they do even better in their race after that. So it's always quite good. It's a bit of novelty value. We will enjoy it.
And what is, if you find yourself as pathfinder, is there? I mean, is it possible for you to cock it up?
Yeah. it is quite hard because the gate boat will be sort of shouting instructions at you. So before start time, they'll be calling for you to be at the mark, the sort of the start mark, 10 seconds to go, and they might have gone alongside you and had a chat. And because they'll be following you around, and you'll be within earshot, they'll be sort of telling you the time. So even if you haven't started your watch correctly, they'll probably tell you the time. The leaving the start mark, you know, if you leave it at 5 seconds to go, they'll probably let it go. If you leave it at 20 seconds, they'll let it go. So as long as you vaguely start correctly, then it'll go quite happily. What can you do wrong on the way up the beat? You could let your sails out a bit, but you're only inconveniencing yourself. So as long as you sail quickly, and it's normally a great thing to do. There is a bit of a discussion that if your pathfinder is, how do I put this, maybe perceived as being slow, you might want to start early so you can overtake them. And you might look at somebody and think, oh, so and so normally beat them and they're pathfinder, I want to go early. But the reality of the situation is they're sailing in clear wind. If you think the right is favoured, you start on the right, and if you think the left is favoured, you start early. You do it that way. So
you don't let the nature of the boat that's on Pathfinder really influence what you're doing necessarily.
No, I wouldn't, and especially in Fireflies, which are very, very similar in speed. Any boat that's got 3 minutes of clear wind is definitely an advantage. I mean, I know other classes are a bit tweakier, so you might have a boat which is very quick in a breeze, and then they go to be Pathfinder on a light day. Something like a Merlin Rocket or a Lark, which is a bit more tweaky. You might modify that, but I think for the Firefly, you ignore any difference and just keep...
No. I suppose also, I mean, you look at the fleet of the Fireflies, and there's like anyone in the top 20 can be winning races. So
yes,
like if they've come 10th, they're not slow.
No, they've done well.
Interesting. I mean, these sketches are all really good. You got any pictures of the real stuff we can see?
Yeah, I went through all the pictures and I found one picture. I've got a grainy picture, and this is the only picture I could find. So this is actually Lyme Regis last year. We've got a certain...
That's our very own Mr. Baxter, is it not?
With 2025 sales. He's off he's going. So yeah, things to notice. Baxter is a Pathfinder. So as you can see, a load of boats have started early.
No, they've perceived him to be slow, so they've gone early. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, no, you're saying that, I'm not. No, so
would I say that about our Baxter?
You would never say that about Alex. So there we go. We've got on the rib, we've got a rib driver. We've got somebody who's probably in charge, and we've got somebody at the back that's probably sitting there with a clipboard, maybe noting down anybody who hits it, or noting down people that have started early. So just looking at the way people approach it, Chris, that's Chris Cameen, he loves a gap to leeward off a start line. So he sees a gate start as a line start, or a slightly modified line start. So he always likes to have a nice big gap. So what he's done there is he's stayed quite high, and he's got whatever that gap is, and it looks like a 2 or 3 boat length gap. So when he goes out of that gate, firstly, he can bear away a bit, so he can hit that gate at maximum speed. And secondly, if he hits a bad wave, he's got a long way to drop back before he ends up in the lee of 3550. And then we've got our class chairman up here, I think that's Jenny, just out of shot. Phil.
Yeah, Jenny and Phil, the doctors.
Yeah, the doctors, they're coming in at pace. I would, maybe got to be a bit careful about getting too close to Chris. But the advantage that you have of starting on a reach is theoretically you're actually at that point going quicker than the gate boat and the guard boat, because they're sailing upwind and you're sailing on a beam reach. So it is possible to start quicker than these guys if you've got a gap, but obviously you can't reach into a start and if you've got a boat to leeward you, because you get disqualified, as discussed. So we are looking across the ladder line here. So in a perfect world, all these boats would be in an absolute straight line, but you can see that these guys here, they've only started sort of 10, 20, 30 seconds ago. And there's already some people that are sort of getting pushed out the back.
Yeah.
So they've had unfortunate starts. Maybe they've hit a wave. Maybe they just haven't quite got the sails in quick enough, not headed up quick enough. You know, and we've got some good sailors here that are drifting back a bit. I think we've got Finn Morris and Paul
I was
Cameen
going to
there.
say, yeah, there's a Greaves down there. There's a Horror. There's Cameen, PK.
Yeah. So there's no shame in getting a bad gate start. You know, they're not. They do have their vagaries, and it could be that the gate boat was surging backwards and forwards a bit, as they do. So if you catch it when it's surging, you're going through the wash. Not only are you starting further back, but you're going through the wash of it. And then, so if you have absolutely no control on the distance between the gate boat and the transom of the Pathfinder. But if you get lucky, you can get there when that gap's quite small and when the outboard engine isn't revving too high.
I have noticed that actually. It might have been at Lyme actually. I remember we definitely hit it on a surge, and there was proper prop wash that you felt on the plate and the rudder.
Yeah, you feel the lift and the foils just disappear, don't you, for that split second, and then you're waiting for the flow to reattach. So that's another advantage of starting on a reach or going at good speed, is that your foils are working properly. So as you go through the wash of the prop, you're going through it nice and quickly. So you're less likely to stall your foils out, and also if you go nice and quickly, you're getting through that wash a bit quicker. So yeah, that's a tip there. Don't try and sail for 30 seconds and go around the back of it. Maybe try and start on a bit of a fetch, and then just keep 10 degrees in the bank and head up as you start.